This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's talk about the other meetings. Meltzer would write, there was also a meeting with Brad Small, the agent who represents Booker T, DDP, Johnny Ace, Billy Kidman, and Chris Kanyon. Each of the aforementioned people have different issues. Canyon's contract with Time Warner expired last week, so he's basically a lock to go in. Ross has made it clear to virtually everyone he's negotiated with that the salaries offered will not be in the league of what they're used to earning, but there is potential to earn more if the new company is successful. Many people involved with the meetings with Ross have noted that he's not tried to snow them with the idea they'd be making more, and brings up potential negatives, and most felt they were being dealt with more honestly than typical wrestling negotiations. That's a nice thing to hear, is it not?
Yeah, it is. My dad said, if you don't tell lies, you've got to remember what you told the guy.
Yeah.
Just telling the truth. And, everything was so up in the air is a minor and a mild way of describing our situation. We knew what we wanted to do was to create a separate brand and have those two brands run separately and independently. And so that maybe once or twice a year, they would pass across in a World Series, playoff type, pay-per-view type deal. But we weren't sure that was going to happen because we didn't have TV secured. Getting a television outlet in the days before all this massive streaming was not as easy as it might be now. So I was always honest. I don't know what's going to happen, how this is going to work out. But here's the deal: the guys you just mentioned, Booker was a high priority for me, and DDP had amassed a nice body of work without question in WCW. He's a self-made guy. I've always said that Dallas Page is probably the greatest overachiever inside the ring as anybody I've ever been around, considering that he started so late at this level and got better and better and improved his game. So he was another layup you wanted to bring in. Laurinaitis was going to be assistant to me. Not looked at him to do any wrestling. Kidman was a cruiserweight and ended up being a gorilla position type guy, administrator, producer, what have you. But the cruiserweights did not bring a lot of cachet with them. And then, and Kanyon was a great frame, 6'3" or 4. I didn't know all of his issues, had no idea. If I had to do all over again, a lot of hires, I'd go back and do a more thorough background check. Not that he was doing something illegal, but he had some drug issues. And then he also was, everybody made a big deal out of him being gay. I didn't give a shit.
Right.
I care. It didn't matter to me. So, and it shouldn't matter to anybody else.
Who
It's
do you
irrelevant.
remember making a big deal out of him being gay?
What's that?
Who do you remember making a big deal?
Oh, well,
he was
the
gay?
boys would go off the record and whisper, JR, he's gay. And I'd say, I didn't know that, but thanks for telling me. What do you say? So he was a very talented guy.
Yeah.
I think the dark side's doing some stuff on him this year. Because my buddy Raphael Morphy's they interviewed him for it. Raphael and Kanyon went to high school or junior high together.
Yeah, they were tight, right?
Yeah, they were good friends. They grew up in the same neighborhood. It's hard for you and I to process that to some degree because I grew up in the country and you grew up in Huntsville, or parts unknown.
Yeah, Alabama and a neighborhood in the Northeast; those are different things.
Big time.
Yeah.
Those neighborhoods in the Northeast have their own personality, their own, traits, all those things. The kids playing ball, being outside, hanging out with their buddies. So, but all those guys came recommended as far as not being pains in the ass. But I knew that if I got one guy out of that group, I wanted Booker T. But I had no issues with the other dudes. Brad Small I've used Brad Small as he's an attorney that works for my agent, Barry Bloom, from time to time. So Brad and I, over the years, have become friends. And I don't know. I have to go back and look at the timeline, but I think Brad might have been involved in structuring one of my book deals. So I knew he was honest. I knew he wasn't going to try to bullshit me. I wasn't going to try to bullshit him. So I enjoyed working with Brad Small. He's still out there in LA doing great work, and I'm happy he's my friend. So good dude. So it was an interesting set of meetings. You know, the meetings in Atlanta was held at the Ritz-Carlton, believe it or not. I got a suite at the Ritz-Carlton, took my little angel Jan with me, and we went back to where we used to live, went to all of our favorite place to eat. And I remember having a real funny dinner with Jim Barnett one night with her, she and Jan, Jimsy, and me. And I'd bring those guys up, they'd have meetings. I'd have meetings with them. And all you're trying to do is just find out, you know, where their heads are, and
Sure.
do you look me in the eye when you talk to me? Are you honest? Do you still think are you insistent that you got one more big push in you? I got another big run, JR. I got one more run. I know it. And, you know, and maybe unfair to them, I had them penciled in to be someplace else in the lineup. And if you exceed my expectations, hell, we all win. That's great. So those are some interesting times. And, but as we got farther into this transition, I felt like the separate brand was becoming it's going to be hard to achieve because the lack of a great television clearance. If you don't have TV, you got to have talent and television.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to get the talent, but we didn't have a TV outlet secured. And that was the kiss of death on that whole invasion thing because we had nowhere else to go with that second show.
I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. Do you really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket, so what are you waiting for? Hurry to savewithconrad.com.
Right, considering this was only about a month and a half after WrestleMania and a few weeks before the invasion angle kicked off, how much was in place for the invasion angle at this point? And how much do you think of the wrestling/sports entertainment business had already changed by this point? So I'm sure he's referencing how quickly WCW had gone under and how that had maybe affected business overall, not just within the confines of WWE, but that's a two-part question. Let's do that piece first. Did you think the business had changed forever at that point, or did you always assume there'll be somebody else?
Well, I thought that the business is changing. Forever is a long time, Conrad. Forever is an awful long time. And as any entertainment entity, as any sports team, you want to improve your brand, you want to get better, you want to build your roster. But I always thought that the bottom line, as somebody once said frequently on interviews, that, you know, it would come back around to where the athletic competition facet of the pro wrestling presentation would become significant again, more significant again. And I think in some companies, they're still struggling to get to that balance. It's a matter of how do we entertain, how many laughs do we get. Anytime you put your heels in a situation where they're going to draw laughter, your creative is screwed. If you really want them to be a villain, why should I dislike you if you're a villain that's making me laugh and entertaining me? I don't get it. Maybe I'm just looking at it wrong. Maybe I'm looking at a little, you know, this kind of deal. So I don't know, man. I think that it was, but you can tell the business was changing, and as it worked out because of the valley that it went in WWE not too long after that, it wasn't the right way to go. People weren't buying it.
Talk to me a little bit about the other part of the question in regards to the invasion. Had we already pivoted? You know, we're not too terribly long or far away from the invasion angle becoming a thing.
Mhm.
Do you think you guys had already decided, hey, what if we did the WCW thing and the ECW thing at the same time? I mean, or was he still hoping against hope? I can put together this TV deal.
Well, I think we're all waiting to get a TV deal done. That was the key to everything. You know, I had been out there, as you documented in this deal, having meetings in Atlanta, Los Angeles, Stanford, and trying to get the roster together. We didn't need to hire everybody, but we need to have a representative roster that had a WCW feel. But until the TV deal got finalized, which never happened, it was going to be what it was. So it's hard to make long-term plans without television in place. I don't know how you could even consider it. And so as a result of that and not being able to close the TV deal, we did have a very successful pay-per-view with Invasion. Invasion ain't going to make money. But we didn't have a way of continuing it with a separate show and launching it and making a big deal out of it. Just wasn't there.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.